Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gambling and Rambling. This is week 10 of the NFL season. Today, we are going to be doing a breakdown of the DFS main slate. We're going to go position. Well, actually, we're going to go game by game and give you each our favorite plays in each game, kind of go through it. And then at the end, give our conviction plays, and we'll build a lineup all together. So we'll start out with the Buffalo at the Jets. We'll start off with Nick. Nick, what are your thoughts? What are some of your plays from this game?
This is a tough one. I guess if you need a cheap running back, Ty Johnson's not the worst $4,500 play.
What a start.
He's put up 10 points. He's put up 10 points in the past 4 games or 3 games. 13, 19, and 13 respectively in the past 3. So they're leaning on their run game more with the QB situation. I think that'll continue. It's definitely a tough Bills team to go up against, but
why not just Michael Carter?
There's not many good plays for me this week.
Yeah.
He's more of the pass catching back. So
no, he's not.
He's the main back.
He is.
He isn't.
Michael Carter. Sorry.
Michael Carter is the main back on both sides of the main, running back, and then he catches the ball as well. He's the pass catching back.
Ty Johnson's got 13 catches over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, they filter him in, but it's
some
like
volumes there.
Against the Bills, you're going to go with the secondary running back.
I'm just saying for a cheap option. All right, we're bargain hunting.
Well, I think
I don't really like anyone on the Bills. I think it could be a blowout
like Ty
game,
Johnson,
so
but nobody on the Bills.
I think there are a couple plays on the Bills. One is it's gross. It's tight end gross. It's Sweeney. That's Dawson Knox coming off that broken hand still. He's not. He's only a cash play just because of his price at 2,600. But probably one of my favorite plays. He's been very consistent, and last 2 weeks I've been, laughed off for talking about Cole Beasley. But 9 catches, or 9 targets, 13 targets, 11 targets, and he's producing. He's putting up points. Last game he had 11 targets, 8 receptions, 33 yards. The Bills didn't perform at all. But he's solidified in that slot position there. And, if the Bills are going to be putting up points, Josh Allen, he's shown that he distributes the ball and he likes Cole Beasley. So I do like Cole Beasley at that spot for his price tag of 5,200.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm going to go to Alex. And Alex, please help us out here. We started out the show with Ty Johnson and Tommy Sweeney.
I said
those are the first 2 players that were mentioned on this show.
Nobody's going to listen to the rest of this.
The people have already just gone like this with their laptop. Like they're just like, what?
I wasn't saying this guy was going to score 100 points.
He got like 2 targets and a target in his last 2 games, and he's projected for like a point.
Okay,
I think we should restart.
Alex, I'm sure Alex can. I'm sure he can.
Send us the life after your Alex.
Yeah. Here we go. All right, let's see if I can put something together here. So first off, Jets, no, just no.
Easy.
I think the Bills have the second or third highest implied total, so I think I think Stephon Diggs maybe has a revenge game here. And I agree, Corey, with Cole Beasley's volume. I think at 5,200, he's a good value play for sure. The other potential here, how much is the Bills defense? Because
I think they're the most expensive. But.
Yeah. So, Jets announced Mike White starting. He's looked pretty good in those 2 starts he's had, but I guess we'll see. At 4K, I think that's probably a reach, just given the uncertainty. But yeah, I think Stephon Diggs could have a big game, and I agree with Corey. Cheap option, Cole Beasley.
Is there ever a time that a $4,000 defense is really worth it, and we feel like it's a lock? PB, what's your insight there?
It's never in cash games you're doing that, but in tournaments pretty much any defense is viable because like it's the one position where it just kind of comes down to luck. Like whoever is getting the defensive touchdowns that week. Like if the Bills score 2 defensive touchdowns, there's high likelihood you would need them in tournaments. That's their tournament. The expensive defenses are tournament plays only. But yeah, I think my favorite play from this game is contingent upon Zach Moss missing, but I think Devin Singletary would be my favorite. The Jets are, they're a bad team, but for as bad they are, like their strongest area, is, well, it's not that strong, but it's stronger against the pass than it is against the run. And early in the season when Singletary kind of the backfield, he saw games where he had 13 attempts, 9 targets, 13 attempts, five targets, 11 attempts, 3 targets. In the last game, he had 6 attempts and 8 targets that's still with Zach Moss there. And if Zach Moss is out, it should be his entire backfield. I think Buffalo wins this game easily, plays from ahead, and Singletary, especially at his cheap price tag. He was going to be my favorite cheap running back again, as long as Zach Moss misses, but we'll get into another like complete lock in cash later in this episode.
So the only issue I have, I understand the volumes there for, the running backs of the Bills. The problem is Josh Allen, they throw the ball and he's so mobile that on the goal line is where running backs really get all their points, not all their points, but a majority, like that's a huge part of their game. And I can just see Devin Singletary is not the biggest guy. Josh Allen's like 6'10", like 500 pounds, like huge. And he runs the ball so much. And so that's why I always just steer away from.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I agree that they're like on a typical slate. Like I'm always fading the Bills like running backs. But I think in this specific situation where Moss can miss and it would like, I think Singletary put like 75% of the snaps. Like that's extremely good. And in this matchup specifically, where I think they could be playing from ahead is why I like it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I just going back and we can move off this game just because it's kind of gross, but I just don't think the Bills have that great of a rushing offensive line. I don't think Zach Moss nor Singletary have had a 100-yard game this year, and we're on week 10, which is, I mean, it's pretty abysmal.
Yeah, but they're usually there together. Also.
No, I understand, but like even combined, I don't think they maybe hit it one time. So, but we can move off of that and we can move on to the next game on the slate.
Yep. Tampa at Washington. There's some couple of bits of injury news. Antonio Brown probably will not be back. He could be out probably for an extended period of time here. And then Chris Godwin just popped up on the injury report. There's growing chance he misses. Gronk won't be playing this week. So yeah, there's a few plays from this game. We'll start out with Alex on this one.
Yeah, going into this, I didn't realize that Godwin had just popped up, but it sounds like that could actually be a little more serious than just a rest day. Initially, I was all on Brady and then Godwin stacking here. I think Mike Evans is definitely still in play. I mean, the Washington football team pass defense is abysmal, and Tom Brady's going to have to throw it to someone. So why not Mike Evans? So I think on that side of the ball, Brady and Evans, I think would be my stack for sure. And then maybe running it back. I think the Bucs are going to put up points. So I think the football team's going to have to throw the ball. And I like J.D. McKissick out of the backfield here at 5,200. So running it back, Brady, Evans, and then J.D. McKissick from the other side.
Okay. Nick?
Yeah, I think due to the injury news, I also like Mike Evans, especially for his price tag. I think you're going to get probably one of his larger target share percentage games this week, just given everyone's out. But I'm going to stick with the sneaky bottom dweller plays for today. So at 3,300, Tyler Johnson from the Buccaneers. He's a receiver. Last game, he put up 11 points. He had 5 receptions. So if, he's going to have his opportunity to shine, and it's not like you need that many points to cover the $3,300 salary there. So if he's a wide receiver too at $3,300, I think you definitely have to consider him if you're playing double ups or 50-50 games. Also, maybe a sneaky tournament play. We'll see if Gronk comes back too. I'm kind of interested to see how he does. He came back a little early, didn't end up playing. So to me, he just is too much of a risk to put in a lineup right now. Otherwise, I really like sticking to Tyler Johnson and Mike Evans and Tom Brady.
Corey?
I think
Yeah.
Brady's probably got the best matchup. So
Yeah, I do agree. And I think we've kind of touched on the Buccaneer side. I really don't like, Leonard Fournette with these guys being out, Godwin, AJ, and now Gronk, possibly missing as well. Leonard Fournette, he does catch balls out of the backfield. And I think they'll be using him a little bit more often than that. He's had 5 targets, 4 targets, 6 targets. So he's obviously the main back there. Rojo is no longer a part of this offense.
What happened to Rojo, man? What happened?
He had so much talent coming
Really?
to the Bucks, and he flat out just missed the mark.
He fumbles a lot.
Yeah, he does put the ball on the ground a lot. So I think that'd probably be the last play that we kind of touch on for the Bucks. And then obviously bring it back. This game has an over under 51.5. So obviously Vegas believes points are going to be scored. And in the game script, we do believe that Tampa Bay is going to win this game. The Redskins are going to have to throw the ball. So that puts, Scary Terry, Cathedral grad on the map. He's priced up at 7,600. He's been around that mark the entire year. They came off a bye. I know he was dealing with a nagging injury, so he's not carrying any injury tag as of right now. So at his price tag, 7,600 to run it back with the plays we've already talked about.
Yeah, I was on Brady for the first time this year, going against this Washington secondary coming out of the bye. But now with Godwin being out, AB not coming back, I'm probably staying away now. We know Brady relies on his players after the catch quite a bit. And so with just Evans being there, I do have interest in Evans for sure. Cause you have to think Godwin's been getting 10 plus, 12 plus targets a game. Evans probably gets a minimum of 3 targets more. A couple probably go to Fournette, and Tyler Johnson's one of the best cheap plays if Godwin in fact misses. He would be the wide receiver 2, and that's pretty hard to pass up at 3,300. And then I like Taylor Heineke is in my quarterback player pool this week. He's very cheap. He's mobile as well. Exactly who to stack him with. So it's just really easy. It's just Taylor Heineke. You stack him with McLaurin, and that's it. Because Heineke can also rush for some touchdowns. You don't necessarily have to double stack him in tournaments. I don't mind Taylor Heineke in cash games either. I think he has the floor to get you, 16, 17 plus fantasy points, which is what you're looking for in a cash game. I don't really like the running backs. I think both sides have pretty good D lines. And
are we concerned about Tony Gibson long term? The past 3 weeks he is not broke.
Well, he's
points.
dealing with
what do we think's going on there?
He's got
He's been playing. Yeah,
it's a shin injury.
Yeah, not great for a running back.
Yeah, he's literally running on that still.
Are we going to get a big seal sighting here though?
I guess he's it's just I like some of those other tight ends right around him that he's definitely in consideration. He could easily, he's a good tournament play for sure. Ricky Seals-Jones, yeah. But that's kind of where I'm going to be at this week, I guess.
Ricky. You're going to play some pretty Ricky.
No, I think Evans is probably the best overall play if Godwin misses. He's one of the best overall play on the entire slate for how much the Brady throws the ball. Evans is going to be really hard to get, not put him in your lineup. So next game we have Atlanta at Dallas. This is one of my favorites of the week. We'll start with Corey on this one.
Yeah, so this right now is the highest over under at 54.5. You tend to look at that. I mean, it's not a necessary factor when coming into like setting a lineup for DFS, but it's something that should be, highly looked at because those games usually get close to that point spread that Vegas puts it at. It's there for a reason. So points can be scored. Both defenses give up, are not very great against the pass. We've seen Dallas have players who make plays with Diggs, but other than that, there's still volume there for, to be points scored. That being said, I really like Matt Ryan this week at 6K. I understand, he's been below 6K most of the year, just because he hasn't performed, but I still think the Falcons are trending in the right direction. So I like him at 6K. And then, they have to throw the ball to, stay with the Cowboys here and score points. Ridley's still out with his personal matters. So Zacchaeus at 4,400, he's gotten, a lot of playing time. He's surpassed Russell Gage almost, I think in the terms of their depth chart.
How many, wait, before you go.
I know he's not getting a lot of targets.
He's gotten 5 targets in his last 3 games combined.
I understand, but if points are being scored in this game, like Vegas thinks there's, I understand Pitts. Yeah, but if you're trying to come off of Pitts and fade Pitts, this might not.
You only need 12 points for him to pay his worth, basically.
Yeah. So I don't mind him. I'm not saying play him, stick him in your lineup, and you're good to go. I just said that he's a play I like, and then obviously bring it back. You got. Why is Cooper? I mean, I understand I don't think he's still priced at where he needs to be priced at. And he's 6,200, and it's $800 less than CeeDee Lamb, but I mean, he's getting like one less fantasy point a game than
he's underpriced probably.
Yeah, I mean, he's been underpriced the last couple of games. So there's a couple of plays I like. I'll let someone else take over so I don't talk the entire time.
Do you think do you think Terrell is going to be on Cooper or CD?
Well, I was thinking that same thought, and at first I thought it would be Cooper, but because we think typically Lamb plays out of the slot, but they actually rotate Lamb and Cooper like outside. In and out. Yeah. Lamb does play more in the slot, but Cooper gets some slot routes as well, so he'll come off of Terrell. So I think
they'll both see him.
They'll both kind of see him. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And Gallup should be returning this week as well.
So along that note, I think Gallup's a good, as long as he's playing, obviously 4K. I think that's some good value there when you know that both CD and Amari are going to be seeing one of the better corners in the league off and on all game. Like a stack here, I'm going to go with on the other side of the quarterback conversation with Dak. And I think you can get away with Gallup if you're trying to do maybe a little bit of a cheaper stack here, but I like Dak, CD, and Pitts on the other side. Obviously Matt Ryan's number one target after Calvin Ridley has been Kyle Pitts. And like Corey was saying, they're going to have to put up points to keep up with these Cowboys. So yeah, those are probably my big 3 plays there from this one.
Nick?
My problem with Pitts is like he's at 5,800 now, and he hasn't broken 10 points in a couple of games now, even with Ridley out. It's just a little concerning for me at that price tag. My favorite play here is actually Zeke. I think he has the best matchup out of any other player. We kind of talked about the AJ Terrell situation. I don't think that he will stop CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper, but I think he will limit them a little bit to where I don't think they're going to have massive explosive games. At least there's less odds against it. So I like Zeke a lot. I know last week was probably just a hiccup for the Cowboys too, but I think they're going to just, they go back to fundamentals, get the run game going. That opens up the pass game, right? So I think that's what we see here this week against a really abysmal Falcons D line, and they're really terrible at stopping the run. I think they're 28th in the league. So good opportunity for Zeke to come in. I also don't hate Tony Pollard, so he could kind of be a sneaky play. but I'm taking the Cowboys running backs over anyone in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm kind of combining Alex and Nick's takes here because I like Dak a lot. He's probably my favorite quarterback play on the whole slate. The Falcons are in a dome too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love targeting dome games. It boosts offenses up.
Game's in Dallas, by the way.
What?
This game's in Dallas.
No, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
it is.
they're
Still
they're
playing dome.
what?
They still playing dome. So
They're
don't-
still
Yeah,
a dome.
okay.
Also a dome.
So so dome game regardless, and I always like targeting the dome games. You don't have to worry about the weather, wind. It just boosts offenses a lot. But I don't mind, and especially in tournaments, and I guess you can even do it in cash games because you really capture all of the Cowboys offense. Is you stack Dak with Zeke and then Amari or Lamb, because Zeke does catch the ball. Like if you go last game, he left the game, but he still had 3 targets, but he was also didn't play a decent amount. And then before that, he had 6 targets, 9 targets. Like they're getting him more involved in the passing game. And the Falcons are they're actually better against the pass than they are the run, but they do give it up to like pass catching running back. So I think it'll be like a lower owned. A lot of people that play Dak won't play Zeke. And so I think it's just a little bit way to get different, because this will be one of the most popular games. Yeah, people. So that's going to be like my
Are
way.
you worried about Zeke's injury at all?
He came back in the game, so I don't think so. I think if it was more serious, he wouldn't have come back.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, and then
Action on Zeke.
Pitts is my favorite Falcon. I probably won't, because I'm going to be playing a ton of game stacks in this game. I will have to at least play a little bit of, I think, Russell Gage, but I'm not going to play any of Zach Myers or Cordero Patterson or any of them. I'm going to really stick mostly to Pitts because he has an amazing matchup against the Cowboys, and then Russell Gage. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And I guess between Amari and Lamb, I prefer Lamb probably just slightly, but they're really close. So the next game we have the Saints at the Titans. I'm the Saints fan here. I guess I'll start off with this game. I think this could be a lower scoring game. So I think from a fantasy perspective, I don't really have a whole lot of interest. Kamara is now dealing with a high ankle sprain, and he missed practice. They say he's going to play through it this weekend, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I don't like AJ Brown because he'll be on Lattimore most likely. The Titans have a really weak pass defense, so I'm gonna sprinkle in Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris. Because Simeon's starting, he has more of a connection with Harris. He's gotten 8 and 7 targets his last 2 games, and at only 4K, he has the best matchup, I think. And then Julio Jones on the Titan side is, I guess, my favorite Titan. I think the like I kind of mentioned in the betting show yesterday, there's no way the Titans are running Adrian Peterson against the Saints defensive front. Like, it's just not going to work. And I think they're at least competent enough to know that, and they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. And I think we could see, Julio's familiar with this defense. He, playing from the Falcons. I think this could be a game where they feature Julio.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that's definitely my favorite play for this week. Actually, he's one of my favorite receivers. I don't want to touch anyone on the Saints. Kind of what we talked about. They haven't shown the ability to be able to catch a football. Maybe they've been talking to Jamar Chase. It's something about the size of it. The stripes aren't on the ball. Not really sure what's going on there down in
maybe Odell
down in the bayou, but
enough.
yeah. We'll see where that goes. But until further notice, I think the Saints pass game is pretty much unplayable in fantasy until we see some signs of
Even a
life there.
healthy Kamara's unplayable?
I think healthy Kamara is a very different story than a high ankle sprain Kamara.
Okay. But
It's going to slow him down, and I think that you know, Titans defense looked okay last week. They had some big plays, so we'll see if they could do it again. I'm not too confident in that, honestly, but I think no brainer here. Julio, not
if
looking too
Kamara
much into
misses,
it
Ingram
outside of
is
that.
if Kamara
Ingram at
misses,
4,500 would
he doesn't
be
play.
interesting take because the Titans don't have
I
the
don't know.
greatest rushing defense. Again, we've already kind of touched on most of these plays. Like you've said, Nick, there's not really anyone that sticks out to me in the pass catching game besides Kamara for the Saints. Like OBJ said he wants to go to a contender.
But you can't play him regardless.
Saints. Well, I know. I'm just saying the Saints aren't there quite yet with their quarterback play. I just, if we were told Taysom Hill was a starter at 5,200, I think he's the same price as Trevor Siemian. I think you might play him. Brian Tannehill at 6,200. If he's forced to throw the ball a lot, I'm kind of inclined. He does have a little bit of rushing upside as well. So if the Saints are getting pressure on him, he will scramble a little bit. He's not known for that ability, but he is there occasionally to run the ball in. But like you said, Julio Jones at 5,400. I think he's probably gonna be one of the highest owned receivers. Just one for his name.
I actually think he's going to be kind of low owned. I'll see when the ownership when ownership projections are in, but I think he might be a lower owned. I
just think people who casually play DraftKings or FanDuel, whatever it is, I don't know what he's listed on FanDuel price tag, but like when you read his name, Julio Jones, and you scroll over and it says there's a green number next, it says 28, and then it says 5,400. I think a lot of people are being inclined.
People really look at the 28th.
Yes. Yes, because a
lot of that stuff's not even that accurate.
It's pretty accurate for the most part because that's how they base.
So the Saints have the 28th ranked secondary. No,
but they give up the 28th most points to I'm not saying that's what their ranking is based off of how many points they've given up to receivers this year.
Okay, well let me correct you on that because I doubt the Saints are. Let's see where the Saints rank against receivers fantasy points wise. Okay.
I hope this is like 25th or something.
What did it say? All right, keep going.
But no, those are the really only plays. I was just saying there's a reason why he's there. I think this is not a very high over under. I think it's going to be a low scoring game. So I'm not really going to be playing much from it. We've already touched on everyone.
All right. Alex?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add on this one. I could very well see it being like a 10-7 game, honestly. And so the only thing I could see is maybe a Titans defense tournament play because it's 2,600, and if it's going to be as low scoring as I think it is, even if they don't score any points themselves, letting up 10 points I think wouldn't be that crazy to see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next game we have Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Corey, Colts fan, go for it.
I'm very, very confused on I'm gonna keep talking about this until I'm literally blue in the face. Why is Pittman at 6,300?
The disrespect.
He has the
this is the disrespect
for Michael Pittman is unreal.
He has the 8th most receiving
How expensive do you think he should be?
He has the 8th most receiving yards in the entire league.
I know that, but
closer to 7K. Maybe not above that, but closer.
What receivers, when you look at DraftKings, would you price them ahead of?
I price them ahead of, Adam Thielen, Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
I go over.
He has 70 points in the last 3 games. 17, 30, and 23. He's coming to life with Wentz. I think you have to play him, especially for 6,300 against the Jacks defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's
kind of a no-brainer.
It's just I'm going to keep playing him until, he's up there as like a top 7, listed price receiver. I mean, he goes in every weekend and he puts up a lot of points. He gets a lot of targets. With TY possibly coming back this week, that just helps him even more. I do have a little bit of interest in TY. I don't think they
You
will
always have interest in TY, and then he comes out with his hammy after one drive.
Okay, in the games he has played, which has been 2, okay, and he didn't even.
You mean not even 2 though? Like kind of like half a quarter in each.
Okay. Well, he got 4 targets, 5 targets. So there's a lot to the Colts offense that he provides, and one, it opens up the field for Michael Pittman, helps Carson Wentz, who's one of my favorite plays because why is he at 5,900? The game script where this game is
hard for non-mobile quarterbacks to get like.
I wouldn't say he's non-mobile.
Okay. I mean, he's just not as mobile as like Dak, Kyler, Lamar, like those guys.
I think he's more mobile than Dak.
I don't know.
Okay, we're like kind of going off topic here, but him at 5,900, I like him. And I mean the workhorse of the offense, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. This guy is so good at playing the foosball. And the Colts offensive line is the healthiest it's been all year. It's evident in the way he's been touching the ball, running the ball. Even at his price tag at 8,100, I love him.
So if you're playing a lot of Wentz and a lot of Taylor, are you playing them together?
I think so the over under on this is not, again, it's mid 40s. It's not a higher one,
but the Colts team total is like almost at 30.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is another game where Jonathan Taylor gets 2 touchdowns. And
so
then
if you think Jonathan Taylor gets 2 touchdowns, I don't know how you have that much interest in Wentz unless he's catching 2 touchdowns. The only reason I could see, I don't know, I feel like in that you have to pick one or the other because Taylor doesn't catch as many balls as
Don't say it.
What?
Don't say Daryl Henry.
There's multiple players. Kamara, players where you can stack the quarterback and the running back together.
I know. I didn't say stack them. I'm just saying who are you going to play more of? If you're playing a ton of Taylor, how are you playing a ton of Wentz? I'm just wondering how you're going about that.
He's probably going to off balance it with a Jamal Agnew play again this week.
You know what? I was getting back to that, Nick. You see my point.
But I just want to know this.
So if I play probably about 40 lineups a week. You have a mute button for that.
Sorry.
So very rarely will I play them together in the same lineup. I play like 40 lineups. So in some lineups, I'll be playing more of,
Wentz, Pittman,
Taylor, and then Wentz and Pittman.
So you're going to pretty much have a Colt in every lineup.
I like it. I mean, what have the Jaguars shown to us that to make them?
No, I don't. I'm not saying I don't mind it. I'll have Taylor and Wentz this week. I think with so many people, if Pittman and Taylor are going to be that high owned, coming off some big games, like back-to-back big games for both of them, I am going to pivot. And I think if I play, I do want to have some Wentz, but I think if I do, I'm going to do a double stack where I get Pittman and Pascal. And if I don't play Wentz at all, I'm going to try to fade Pittman and Taylor and get a bunch of leverage with Zach Pascal this week.
Yeah, I mean, I like his price tag as well at 4,500, but
he gets a lot of red zone targets that haven't come together for touchdowns this year. But the second they start doing, he could have a 2 touchdown game, and then you're getting all those people that played Taylor and Pittman and Wentz. Well, mainly Pittman and Taylor. You're getting all the leverage off of those 2.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, but all right, Nick and Alex, shoot your shot.
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence this week. We kind of heard from the Colts fan himself how bad that secondary is. So I kind of like playing Trevor Lawrence. I'm having trouble picking a receiver to stack him with, so I'd like to discuss as a group who we think is the best Jacksonville receiver.
Dan Arnold.
Dan Arnold for sure.
No,
Actually?
I'm
That's
serious.
serious.
Really?
Yeah, I
All
agree.
right. What
His
can
targets.
you fill me in on what's going on with Dan Arnold? Because I don't know. I
8
know they traded
targets.
for him a couple of weeks ago, but
Yep.
Yeah, he's
what's
gotten
going on there?
10 and 7 targets in the last 2 games, and
He lines up at receiver most of the that
Big
you get a receiver at the tight end position.
yeah, big target in the
And
red
he's only
zone for a rookie
3,500.
QB.
You're right. So you're getting like a $3,500 receiver that's gotten 7 and 10 targets,
Hmm. Okay.
pretty much.
Do you think it's enough
He's
of
a
a
freak
stack to
athlete
just
too.
have?
Dan Arnold is.
Yeah. Do you think it's enough of a stack to just have Arnold and Trevor Lawrence in a lineup?
No, Trevor Lawrence is one that you're gonna want to at least have 2 probably. You're gonna want like Lawrence,
Jamal
Marvin Jones, and Arnold. I think you're gonna want to get at least 2 in there if you play Lawrence.
Jamal Agnew.
Yeah, so you could go Lawrence, Agnew, Dan Arnold. I'm not completely sold on this Agnew train yet, but
Okay. When he started playing, he was hurt the first 3 weeks. 4th game, he barely played. Week 5 through 9, 7 targets, 6 targets, 12 targets, 5 targets.
What do you do with him?
And he runs the ball too. They use him in a lot of different formations. I mean, when I say run, they run him on, like sweeps and
yeah, I don't know what happened to Laviska Shenault. Like he was
Fell off.
I had a little bit of high hopes for that guy, and I don't know what, or like they're just completely rendering him useless. But I don't know. I guess they love what is it, Agnew? I guess
Agnew.
they like this guy.
They're finally realizing and price him up. He's
priced up. What is his price?
4,500.
Oh yeah, I'm not playing a single line to put that guy in there. I'd give me Dan Arnold at 3,500, who's seen an average of 8.5 targets in his games with them that they traded for, or give me Marvin Jones, who we know is a good tournament play because of the type of player that he is and can catch a few long ones and be in a tournament winner.
Alex,
so that's
leave you anything else?
Not a whole lot to add here. I like Dan Arnold at 3,500. That was going to be my one play out of this one, because I do think Wentz and Pittman and Jonathan Taylor are going to be on to a bunch, and maybe in cash games using those guys, but probably not in a tournament.
Yeah, especially like divisional game. I think this is a game that, I mean, I'll have to again look at the ownership when it comes out, but I definitely can see Pittman and Taylor being like easily 17, 20+% owned.
Yeah,
so
because they're good.
Yeah, but
workhorses. Some would
a
say.
lot of players that you can get as leverage. Next game we have Detroit at Pittsburgh. We'll start off with Alex on this one.
I
Give him a chance to talk.
I like both of the running backs in this game. I think DeAndre Swift coming off of the bye here at under 7K, I think could be a sneaky good play. They use him in the pass game a bunch. Jamal Williams is questionable, so I think he could have himself a game. And then Najee on the other end, a guy they just love giving the ball to, and how could you not? I mean, this dude is a beast. So under 8K for him, I like that as well. Detroit rush defense is abysmal. The one other play I like here, under $4,000 somehow, is Freiermuth, tight end here for the Steelers, getting a ton of red zone targets, 7, and 6 targets total the last 3 games, coming off of a 2-touchdown game against the Bears. So those are my 3 plays from this one.
I think Najee definitely has the better matchup of him and Swift. Steelers D-line's pretty good. They shut down the Bears running game pretty much last week. So I like Najee Harris, and I had a hard time choosing between him and Dalvin Cook for my locks of the week. But that's all I'm going to input for this game.
Yeah, the thing with Deontay Johnson's interesting, but I just Najee Harris, he touches the ball so much. I mean, the amount of time he touches the ball, he should be literally placed at like the highest paid or the highest salary running back. I mean, it's crazy that he's still
It's like a minimum of 25 times a
It's
game.
insane.
That's great. Yeah. And he's scoring. It's not like he's like touching the ball and not doing anything with it. He's scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like the Freiermuth play as well, because Chase Claypool for the Pittsburgh Steelers just kind of just faded away this year. He emerged last year and was, one of the pickups in at least in fantasy terms to play.
I think he's been like off and on injured.
Yeah, and he is coming off an injury, and then Big Ben it looks like he should be, sipping Mai Tai
Retired.
at the beach
Literally.
somewhere. The dude
Throwing
cannot.
beach balls.
He can't throw the ball.
You'd better find a quarterback in the next draft, because wow,
Yeah.
that team's going.
But yeah, that's really about it. For me, there's no one to play for the Lions in the receiving pool because it's gross.
Did everyone go?
Yeah, except for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Najee is my favorite play. He's one of my favorite overall plays of the whole slate. I think, like, from a running back projection standpoint, he's the highest projected running back, just raw points on the whole slate. Probably going to be playing him in cash games. Like, he's such a safe play going, especially now going against this Lions run defense. I actually don't mind. I think for a cheap defense, though, I think you can play the Lions. Now, I wouldn't play in a tournament. I wouldn't play Najee against the Lions defense, but Big Ben just has these games every single year where he'll throw like 4 interceptions, and everyone's just like, what is going on? And I'm surprised he hasn't had one of those. Like, maybe he has, and I'm just not remembering, but like, he has those 4 interception games, I feel like,
Bad games.
and the Lions, it's not like they're a great defense. Usually it's just because Big Ben just plays horribly. And, he usually plays worse on the road. This is at home, but Lions coming out of the bye. I think the Lions for a cheap defense is one of the best you can get. And then I guess, the Steelers defense is in consideration too, always against Jared Goff. And yeah, I guess I think I prefer Deontay Johnson over Claypool. Claypool kind of got banged up, and Deontay Johnson sees so many targets. And I think he's due for a big game here. But Najee is definitely my favorite overall play. He's a smash this week. Next game, we have Cleveland at New England. Turn it over to the Browns fan. Nick, what are the plays in this game?
Yeah, I can pretty much game script every single Browns game at this point.
Okay.
So I'll start with the Steelers side, because I think I am more
The
certain
Steelers
there about how
Patriots.
Patriots. Sorry, on the Patriots side, our cornerbacks are playing out of their mind right now. So I'm not playing Mac Jones or any Patriots wide receiver. However, I do like Hunter Henry. I think he's definitely been emerging as the number one, maybe Mac Jones' favorite target. He's getting a lot of looks, a lot of volume. He's at a good price this week. I think he's at like $4,000. So Hunter Henry is the only one I want to even consider playing on the Patriots. Running backs aren't bad. They're just a little banged up this week, and Jadeveon Clowney is really great at stopping the run with Myles Garrett. So not all that high on them either, even though Joe Mixon did have a really good game last week. Where we do get beat by running backs is on the outside to fast running backs, not the inside ground and pound type running backs. So something to keep in mind there. If you did play a Patriots running back, you might want to favor one of the pass catchers, but I wouldn't recommend it. And then on the Browns side of the ball, I think Jarvis is probably going to see the most volume for a receiver. I'm really just interested to see what happens with Nick Chubb. I think the COVID news is going to change a lot of how I feel about certain plays this week. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, he always has that big play threat. He's scoring double digits in the past 3 games that he's actually played. He actually put up, I think, 12 points against the Chargers defense. I would argue that that's probably one of the most points by a receiver all year against the Chargers. We're seeing a lot of talent out of this guy. He's year 2. He's starting to develop into a true wide receiver. I think he'll be in the league for a long time. So he's kind of a fun tournament play for some big explosive games. So
Really hyping up DPJ over there. OBJ
in 5
goes,
years,
it's
we'll look
DPJ
back
time.
at this and remember this moment.
Gosh,
Get his rookie card too.
it was always DPJ. It was never OBJ.
That's right. There can only be 3 letters, 1 3-letter player on our team. So
OBJ had to go. Alex?
Yeah, definitely keeping an eye on the Nick Chubb news all week. Obviously, Ernest Johnson is in play there if he's out, but I also like the Browns defense here at under 3K, 2,800. I think with how the Patriots running backs are banged up, coupled with the Browns, just playing really well these last couple of weeks, their defense playing well. I think Mac Jones could make some mistakes here, have a little bit more of a workload put on his plate this week than in weeks past, and could see the Brownies putting up a couple of points on defense.
You know what's very interesting here is that OBJ is released. Their very next game the Browns are playing is against the Patriots. What if the Patriots signed OBJ?
That's not this.
And OBJ is at 4,000
game,
and he's revenge game, and he comes out as the old OBJ of the past and puts up like a 200-yard game and 2 touchdowns.
Nick would cry at that.
an immediate.
I wouldn't be mad.
Would be
I'm glad
amazing.
he's gone.
Yeah,
I'm happy he's gone.
Yeah, it's probably a
don't-
mutually beneficial thing. Like,
Yeah.
for the league.
I think like from a salary perspective, he was $15 million. We immediately signed Wyatt Teller to an extension this week after we released Odell. So like we know that we have to allocate that budget elsewhere. So as a franchise move, I think that was just the best decision for the team. And he really wasn't producing
No.
as a wide receiver 1 like he used to. So I'm
It helps when your
happy
quarterback
with it.
can get
I
the
know.
ball, but yeah, that too.
Yeah, we'll
So
see.
okay, so going back to plays here, I think Nick touched on most of them. I'm not really interested in any receiving core for the Patriots because I don't think Mac Jones has it in him to put up a 300-yard, 3-touchdown game. I mean, I think the most yards he's had this entire year is like he's had 1 300-yard game, and that's against the Jets. So I'm not really interested in that. Their whole mantra of their game plan is to get ahead and then to run the clock out, I should say. So, and with Nick saying that, their running back core is banged up, which it is, I just don't like really any plays besides the one Nick's have already mentioned.
Yeah, I don't have many plays. I think this is I think this game goes under the total. This is just gonna be a low scoring game in my opinion. My favorite play is gonna be if Nick Chubb's out, and that's James Johnson at 4.7K. He's a lock. You're playing him in all your cash games, and he'd be really hard to fade in tournaments. Like, I guess if Moss is out, like Singletary is like a perfect, because I think they're the same exact price tag. It's like a good tournament pivot off of them, but like you could even probably play them both, and then you have a ton of salary left. But yeah, I just think Ernest Johnson would be probably the best play on the entire slate if Chubb is out. So that's my thoughts. I don't think this is a good game to play, and if Chubb was playing, I wouldn't have interest in anybody. But since he's probably not playing, there's too much value on Ernest Johnson, way too much.
Yep.
Next game we have Minnesota at the Chargers. There's some interesting news going on with Dalvin Cook with these allegations that were like against him, but then it's like, well, he was the victim, and I don't know what the league's doing right now because she's still claiming he assaulted him or something like that. So I don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot going on. Dalvin was like one of my favorite plays of the week going against this Chargers run defense, but I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
That's disappointing to hear for sure. You hate to see a professional just accused of that. All I really care about in this situation, let's just focus on football today. Is he going to play?
I think he does, because the turnaround is too close to,
My guess is he does play, but
I think he does play.
If not,
because I think
amazing.
Yeah. I think he has the best opportunity of the week out of any running back. I think we know that running backs excel against the Chargers. So I don't like Justin Jefferson this week, or any of the receiving type of plays for the Vikings. I think it's all a Dalvin Cook game. But I kind of like everyone on the Chargers, so I'll leave that up to you guys if you have a special favorite there.
I understand what the Chargers secondary is. It's one of the best in the league.
They're super hurt right now.
I think that's why the Eagles, I think, may have had success. Is that why they were out? Like,
so
wasn't Asante Samuel Jr. and then
their top three corners were all out.
That's
Ryan Smith's done for the year, and then Michael Davis and Asante Samuel Jr. are both still questionable and left that game. Devonta Smith put up 116 yards and a touchdown on them.
Yeah,
I think
that makes a lot more sense. I was like, damn, I was like Smith, but
and with this
good insight there.
The over under is 53 here, and so it's the second highest total on the slate. They're expecting this to be a very high scoring game. We know the Vikings defense is not that great. We do know that the Vikings have extremely very good playmakers on their team. And I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. So with that, I do like Kirk Cousins at his price tag. I know everyone hates playing him, and he does have the weapons are there for him to have a 350 plus yard game and like 3 touchdowns. And with that being said, I love Jefferson. I think he's gonna be very overlooked. At 7,700, he's still very expensive, but he's one of the better receivers in the league. And then you can even drop it down to Thielen at his price tag of 6,700 too. Thielen didn't do anything last week. And I always say, when receivers have, I know Jefferson's the better one. Thielen's still a really good receiver. He's not like an egotistical receiver though. So he's probably not going to be demanding the ball, but Kirk Cousins sees that I only got, threw the ball to him 2 times. And one of those times he did score a touchdown. So I do like the receiving core of the Vikings this week as well.
Yeah.
Nick? Oh, Alex.
Yeah. I love Justin Jefferson in this matchup for everything that we just laid out. I also like the receivers on the other side of the ball too. I really like Big Mike Williams in this game. I think he's got they're obviously very different body types, but I think he's got a similar game to Hollywood Brown, downfield, big play threat. Brown put up 116 on the Vikings last week, and we know there's going to be points in this game, like Corey was saying. I think that honestly, all 4 of the receivers in this game are playable in lineups, and then keeping an eye on that Dalvin Cook news too. If he doesn't play, which I think he will as well, it sounds like we're all in agreement there. Madison at 4,500 could be a potential play against this really bad Chargers run defense.
Nick?
He already went.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
That was no additional thoughts there. Thank you for checking.
So if this Charger secondary is actually out again, that's going to bring me right back on to Justin Jefferson mainly. I like him as more of a talent than Thielen at this point. But this was my second favorite game next to the Cowboys Falcons. So, hearing that the Charger secondary could be out, that makes me like this even more. I prefer the Justin Herbert stacking side than the Kirk Cousins stacking side. I'd rather do like a Herbert to Keenan Allen or Herbert to Mike Williams. stack and run it back with either Dalvin Cook or Justin Jefferson. I usually like to double stack when I can, but I think the Herbert double stack is too expensive for the ceiling. You would need, in order for that double stack to pay off, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams you need like 4 touchdowns out of Herbert and like 2 from Allen and 2 from Will. It just makes it more unlikely. So I'd rather just do a single stack. Herbert has some mobility as well. He rushes for a few touchdowns. And to me, if Dalvin Cook is actually out, Madison becomes the trumps Dearness Johnson as the best overall play of the slate. I would be playing so much of both of them. And it's crazy because going into the week, I loved all the expenses. Like I like Dalvin Cook, I like Taylor, I like Najee Harris. If Aaron Jones is back, I like him. And now if all this stuff is coming out and you have Chubb out, Dalvin Cook out, those cheap running back plays are in such incredible spots. Like Madison, we've seen what he does as backup. He just is in the full Dalvin Cook role. He gets 20 plus touches. He's seen 8 targets in a game at 4,500. You would be playing both him and Dearness Johnson in cash games. And I would probably just lock Madison into every single lineup I made.
Opens up so many opportunities for the rest of that lineup.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't necessarily lock Madison and Dearness Johnson in, but I think I would. Madison, it would be in such, especially going against the Chargers defense, whereas Dearness Johnson still going against the Patriots, still a super strong play, but Madison would trump Johnson as the best value play, like complete lock and load. So that's my thoughts on this game. I love it a lot. Just back and forth game. I think the Chargers win this game. It's also why I prefer the Justin Herbert side, and I guess between the receivers, from a tournament perspective, I prefer Mike Williams just because Keenan Allen's been going off and he'll be highly owned. So would rather get the leverage with Big Mike. So next game we have Carolina at Arizona. Corey, we'll start off with you here.
Well, if everyone has listened to our previous show talking about, the week 10 slate, I am all over the Carolina Panthers this week. Just because one, I think, with their injuries on the Cardinals side is that it's going to open up a lot here for the Panthers, which is going to lead me to one of my favorite cash game plays is PJ Walker. I'm telling you at 5,000, he has a starting role. I liked him last week in the game against Atlanta, but
how'd that go?
He didn't play. They wasn't Atlanta. Who the Panthers, the Patriots.
Oh yeah.
So I know the Cardinals have a better defense, but I'm just telling you, he's going to get his chance. When people get chances, especially people who've been in and out of the league, they tend to, have a little chip on their shoulder. I like him and DJ Moore, and with McCaffrey being fully healthy last week, I think he touched the ball 20 something plus times through the passing game and running game, and he wasn't fully healthy. So I like Christian McCaffrey as well. So PJ Walker and McCaffrey in cash games is something I really do like.
Nick?
Yeah.
I like McCaffrey for 8,400 too. We liked him last week at 8K, and now he's getting a full snap count. So agree with Corey there. Cardinals wise, I think it's just too uncertain for me to feel confident about picking anyone on that front. So I'm going to digress there and stick with McCaffrey.
Yeah, CMC is always chalk. If he's healthy, you kind of have to play him in at least a lineup. The only other play I think that I am looking at taking on this game is the Cardinals defense. I think just kind of name recognition alone and playing against PJ Walker. I think under 4K could see some turnovers in this game.
Is it dangerous to play McCaffrey and Cardinals defense in the same
In
lineup?
cash games, no. In tournaments, you don't do that.
Why?
Why? Because you're in tournaments, it's all about ceiling. You're not playing for a floor. So cash games, McCaffrey can score, if he scores like 2 touchdowns, your defense can still get some sacks just to make you competitive in a cash game where what's the Cardinals defense at?
Okay.
3,700.
What is it?
3,700.
Oh yeah, it's really expensive. So yeah, if you got like 9 or 10 points, I guess that's fine for a cash game. But in a tournament, if you're playing the Cardinals defense, that means you need them to be scoring a lot and getting a ton of sacks, and so the offense on the other side is not doing well. And you need all the ceiling you can get in a tournament, and that's completely negatively correlated.
Got it.
So-
Thanks for the insight there, Patrick. Patrick Schefter.
All right. My thoughts is, I guess, I like McCaffrey. I think if they still say he's going to be limited because there's so many good running back plays on the slate, I'd probably fade him. But if they say he's getting his full workload, he becomes one of the best plays on the slate. But on the other side of the ball, James Conner at 6.3K with Chase Edmonds being out. I mean, James Conner leads the league in touchdowns right now. He's going to get probably 20 plus carries, and he could get all the pass. I think Rondell Moore I could see the Cardinals really using Rondell Moore in that Chase Edmonds role, but Connor will still be out there all the time, and he'll get some pass catching work as well. They use him every time. I swear I watch a Cardinals game. Every time they get into the red zone, I just carry after carry after carry for James Conner. And I know the Panthers have a pretty good rush defense, but this is a complete. I would probably be more inclined to fade James Conner in tournaments.
Yep.
Just because I think his upside could be a little more limited, but in cash games, he's one of the strongest plays. And we still don't even know if Kyler Murray is playing yet. Like, he's still dealing with that ankle thing. And if he doesn't play, I have no interest in any of the Cardinals pass catchers. And now with PJ Walker, I guess I just love DJ Moore as a talent, so I always go back to the well with him, and I never exclude him from my player pool completely. So I'm gonna probably have a little DJ Moore as well. But overall, I'm not a big fan of this game environment as a whole. Next game, we have Philly at Denver. We'll start off with Alex on this one.
Thanks for giving me the stinker on the board here, QB. Appreciate that one. I honestly don't really see myself playing much from this game. I think I don't know if I even want to take Jerry Jeudy at that price tag, 5.3K. I mean, just on the off chance he has a good game, but no, I'm staying away from this game. Maybe Eagles defense at 2.7K. Maybe this is like my defensive picks of the week show, apparently. But I'm not going to be playing a whole lot from this one.
When are we going to see, Javonte Williams get the full?
I cannot.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
because last week his stat line was 17 carries for 111 yards with and he should have had a touchdown. He should have had a touchdown, but I'm pretty sure he fumbled the ball on the goal line. They recovered it, but they didn't give him another opportunity in the red zone. The Eagles defensive, front it's not the greatest. It's not the best. It's middle of the pack. And the way that they split carries and they're in Denver, it makes people realize that, you can't really, it's not a very safe play to play, you just don't know who to play for the running backs on Denver. But Javonte Williams at 5,000 he's still touching the ball quite a bit. I think it's maybe a play, maybe a sneaky tournament play to just get a little bit different from the field, especially in those large field tournaments of like 100K plus. it might be something worth looking at. But other than that, I really don't like Jalen Hurts that much. I know he has a running upside, but I just don't see it really being a high scoring game for that.
Yeah, Javonte Williams is so tempting, but I think, I always say this, it's one of those scenarios where talent does not always equate to fantasy success. And I think he's awesome. Like he's patient, like Lev Bell, like Corey was saying yesterday. And I think he runs mean like Jerome Bettis. Like the highlights of him carrying defenders like 10 yards down the field
That
just on his
recent
back
highlight was
is
nutty.
yeah, like but he's
He's
doing
got-
that consistently now.
really
It's
good.
not just like a fluke.
He
Like
has
we
the
know
most forced
he's
miss.
going to be special.
He has
Yeah.
like the most forced missed tackles in the league, and he's in a timeshare with Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
He's good. Good.
As far as rookie running backs go, I think him and Najee Harris are here to stay.
It's easily Javonte
So
Williams is the most talented.
yeah, I think so too. And I do like him the most. I mean, I know Melvin Gordon's going to snake a lot of volume from him, but I don't really like
You
everyone
should have
else.
traded him to any, like, I don't know, what was it? The
Yeah,
Titans needed one, the Ravens needed one. Just like ship him off, get something out of Melvin Gordon, and just
Yeah.
use this rookie. Like, jeez.
we
Melvin
don't know
Gordon.
what's happening behind the scenes. Melvin Gordon could be mentoring him. He's probably a great person to learn from. He's been really successful in the league. So, I think you have to look at that value from
Let
a
him
franchise
just mentor him
perspective.
on the
So,
sideline.
yeah, I'm with you there. But
At home on the computer.
I think the Eagles have definitely gained more trust for me over the past few weeks, but they're still a little inconsistent. I think the Broncos defense is also really good. So I just don't like any Eagles plays this week. I know Hurts is probably going to do pretty well, and I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Alex?
I'm not going to play anyone.
Yeah, I already run here. I'm not going to be playing a lot.
Oh yeah, you started
on
out with
the
that.
other
That's right.
Yeah.
Corey?
It's like you're not.
I already said Javonte Williams is the only play that I would have interest in.
Yeah, I
not
have
listening.
0.
He
Oh,
already went.
what? Jerry Jeudy is the only like receiver play that I kind of like. He came right back from his injury and immediately seeing like the highest target share on the team. But I usually don't like targeting receivers against the Eagles, so I don't know. I probably won't play much of him. My favorite play in this game is the Broncos defense. It's one of my favorite defensive plays of the week. I'll probably be like, I want to say my main tournament lineup that I make is going to use the Broncos defense. Jalen Hurts he has not shown me at all, or I don't think he's shown anyone that he's a capable passer. Broncos have been a pretty solid defense this year. We saw what they did against the Cowboys. They've limited teams to, they've been in some low scoring games. They might have lost some of them, but they have a solid defense, even without Miller and Chubb. So yeah, that's my favorite play of this game, I think, is the Broncos defense. I think you could see that rookie is that Surtain?
Yeah, Patrick Surtain.
Patrick Surtain.
I
The
think
second.
this little pick 6 this week. But yeah, that's like my only play from that game. Last game we have Seattle at Green Bay. This could be like the marquee game of the week as long as Rodgers and Russ are playing. What do we got? We'll start with Corey.
Yeah, this is scorched earth. Aaron Rodgers, as Alex said the other day, he is my favorite quarterback play.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, he's probably going to be playing. I mean, he feels fine. He said he feels great on multiple different platforms. Him with Devontae Adams is going to be a nightmare for this Seahawks defense. The Seahawks defense is not good. Aaron Rodgers is very good, and we've seen him be very good with throwing the ball to absolutely no one against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago. So I do like those two. A very cheap player, and I know he's like hit or miss. He's kind of like Deshaun Jackson, but MVS at 3,500, this over under is at 49.5 right now. And I think it's going to probably be, especially if Rodgers and Russell Wilson both play, that's going to go up. People are going to be betting that game up just because both defenses aren't the greatest. So MVS at 3,500 is kind of a sneaky tournament play if points are going to be scored in this game. And then obviously, if you want to bring it back on the other side with one of the pass catchers for the Seattle Seahawks, you should. But I think what people are saying, I think this is probably going to be one of the most popular games this week in terms of the player pool.
Yeah, I agree with you, Corey, here. I think both of Seattle's receivers, DK and Lockett, they're both, I think, priced like they're playing with Geno Smith or like Russ isn't 100%. And I don't think that the Seahawks would rush Russ back. That's a tongue twister for you. So I like both of them. My conviction play here, though, of the week is Devontae. For everything you're saying there, Corey, I think Devontae is going to go off. And even if Rodgers doesn't play, he saw 14 targets last week. No, they weren't like the best thrown balls, but I'm assuming, and I'm playing this like Rodgers is playing. Another name, kind of a long shot in the dark here. If you need to fill in like a low end guy, Gerald Everett is only 2.6K. Don't love it, but if you're strapped for cash in other areas, I think you could put him in there.
Is it Nick or me?
Whoever wants to go.
I think the best value play of this game is DK Metcalf at 6,800. That's the only thing we haven't touched on. We also didn't talk about Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Who's
He's
been a little quiet. Yeah. I'm not too high on him. So I like DK Metcalf here. That's what I'll contribute.
So it just depends. Like there's a lot of unknown. Russ is playing, so I guess I'll start on the Seahawks side. I think DK Metcalf is my favorite Seahawk play. Going against Green Bay plays more zone defense, don't they? Like from their defensive scheme.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. I don't study LaFleur's defense too much.
Well, I'm pretty sure they play a bit more zone, and I've learned to realize it's better to target Metcalf against zone defenses and Lockett against man. Like that, it's just if you've done that this year, you've been on the right side of picking one of those two players. So I prefer Metcalf in this spot. And then I like more of the Packers, I guess, if Rodgers plays. If Rodgers doesn't, I honestly don't have a whole lot of interest in this game at all. But if it's actually a Rodgers in, then I like Aaron Jones quite a bit. I love targeting running backs against the Seattle run D. It's terrible. And Jones he's still, a very good player. And in the early season, everyone was playing him. He had a couple great games. And then, of course, because of recency bias, and I know Dylan gets his touches, but Aaron Jones still gets quite a few, and he's involved in the passing game. He'll be very low owned, in my opinion. Good tournament play. And then Devontae, I think, funny enough, the best value play in this game, if Rodgers plays, is Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I mean,
under 8K.
Devontae Adams with Rodgers should be over 9K.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even Jordan Love, I think targeted him 14 times, but he's just not Rodgers, so he went 6 for 42. But yeah, I mean, if Rodgers is in, Adams is one of the best overall receiver plays on the entire slate, especially on a slate where I don't like a whole lot of receivers, like in general, especially like on the more expensive end. Like I don't like Brown that much. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Hopkins, wow, there's some, pretty much all the receivers are kind of, let me see here. Oh yeah, so I guess I like Scary Terry. Diggs, not a huge fan. Godwin's probably going to be out. I don't know. I think Adams is definitely one of the best plays if Rodgers is in. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't think I'll be playing really the quarterbacks of these games though. I'm more of a fan of some of the other ones that I mentioned. But now, we're done with going through game by game. We're now going to do our conviction plays, and we'll do it at each position. We don't have to give reasonings really. You could just say, this is the player I'm most convicted on at this position. So at the
You
quarterback,
want to just do that while we're building the lineup, and then we can just kind of agree on who we're playing or what?
This will take like 2 minutes to just run through each position. So Alex, we'll start with you. What's your favorite quarterback?
Favorite quarterback on this slate is going to be, we're going to go with Carson Wentz here. I think him
Okay.
have a big game.
Corey?
If Rodgers plays, Rodgers. If not, I like Kirk Cousins.
Wow. Okay. Nick?
I'm going with Trevor Lawrence here.
All right. And my favorite one is going to be Dak Prescott. So running back, again, we'll start with Nick on running back.
Give me Najee Harris.
Corey?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor.
Dalvin Cook, if he plays.
So mine is, if Chubb doesn't, if Matt, mine is just contingent. If Cook is out, it's Madison. If he's in and Chubb's out, it's Dearness Johnson. If both of them somehow play, it's Najee Harris. And he's my conviction. Receiver, Corey.
Pittman for sure. So way undervalued.
All right.
I'll take Mike Evans.
That's a solid one.
We were all just saying that I'm going to take Devontae
Adams. I was going to say Evans with Nick, but I'm going to go Julio. I know it's against my Saints, but I just know how we match up, and I don't know. I'm convicted on him this week. Tight end.
Muth. Give me Muth.
Yeah, I'm on that too.
I'll take Dan Arnold. You guys convinced me.
Mine is Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we don't need to do defense. There's not a whole lot of conviction to have there. All right. Now we'll build a lineup. So
let's do it.
We started with Nick last time, so I guess we'll start with Corey.
Ooh. All right. This is gonna be we're doing tournament right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is gonna be like a tourney lineup. We're not.
All right. Tournament lineup. Then, man, I hate to hurt you guys and pick an expensive quarterback. So I'm gonna pick Aaron Rodgers.
How expensive is he?
7,100.
71.
All right. Well, we kind of know our second pick. Well, no, he's your conviction play, Alex, right?
Yeah. Devontae's going in there for sure.
I'm good with that.
All right. Nick?
Put Najee in.
All right. Let's get Julio in there.
Oh, man.
We're gonna need to go for some cheap options here.
We know what some cheap options are at the
Yeah.
Julio's only 5,400.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
So I guess at tight end, let's take everyone's conviction. Dan Arnold there. Get it cheaper there.
I like that.
Corey,
yeah, 3,500.
Now Alex.
Let's see what we're working with. Running back wise.
Yeah, running back, wide receiver, flex, and then I guess we'll all just have to whatever's left to defense.
Yeah. Let's see. Trying to save a little bit of money here.
So the contingent plays here are Ernest Johnson, Devin Singletary, and Alexander Madison.
Yeah, but I think most likely it's Ernest Johnson.
I think what you could do though, if you're building lineups, is plug in one of the three, and maybe take the most expensive one. And then if there's a situation where the guy you put in isn't playing, or you want to swap out, your salary's already set up, so it's a quick swap at 11.59. If I had
we'll luckily know what.
Yeah. 2 minutes before the game start on Tuesday or on Sundays, I'm always screaming at the TV and trying to get my phone to load, and the internet's not working. It's always a scene for sure.
Yeah, luckily we'll get this news far in advance.
All right, so For receivers, let's go to down. Let's go to like the 4,500 range.
Corey, how are you
Could we-
going again?
Yeah,
What?
could we plug in the
How are you
Browns
going again,
defense real
Corey?
quick? And that'll give us a good idea of how much we have to spend.
You know, Browns defense.
I think that's probably the best cheap defense. What do you guys think?
What's the Browns price?
2,800.
2,800.
How is that? Okay, I mean, I guess it's under 3K, but I don't know about the best cheap one. I mean, the line, we can't play Lions against Niners.
Panthers at 2,400.
Yeah, if Murray's out, Panthers but we don't know. So I don't know. I guess if Nick wants to play the Browns, play the Browns.
All right, so we're up to 5,300 now for the last two positions.
If we're up, 5,300.
Pittman. I think we got to play Pittman.
No,
but I think
Nick, can you make your play and then not say anything?
Team effort here.
Okay, so we have 5,300 and we have a flex and receiver.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get, man, I think we can, I feel like we have to get a cowboy in here.
What if what if you were to take, so let me just tell you, like at the wide receiver right here, you've already talked about, Zach Pascal, he's at 4,500.
Oh yeah, I am on. Let's put Pascal in there. I like that.
And then
What about receiver? Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, is that perfect for James Conner, or what can we fit in there?
Connor is
What? No, I mean tournaments. I said though he's probably not a good play.
63. So we're 100.
No. What's at 60? What is at 62?
Cooper.
We're gonna get our cowboy with Cooper in there.
Yeah, I don't mind Cooper there at 6,200.
That's pretty solid, because then let's go through like the offenses. We have Green Bay exposure. We have Pittsburgh. We have actually a nice correlation with the Cleveland, Dearness Johnson, and the Browns defense. That's a nice correlation. Then we have Julio for the Titans offense. We have Pascal with all the Colts leverage off of Taylor and Pittman. And then and that's also a nice little correlation stack with Dan Arnold if, that game goes back and forth between those two. And then we get our Cowboys. And then, yeah, I mean, we have exposure to some of the best offenses. I think the only game we're missing out on is we're just full fading the Chargers Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like it. I like
which
it.
you could just swap out Dearness Johnson for Madison, and then you just expect like, okay, maybe the Browns just score one or two defensive touchdowns, and Dearness Johnson's not on the field a lot because New England's keep going out there after multiple defensive scores.
But yeah, this is a nice lineup. Might be a million maker lineup here.
Yeah, no, that's solid because we have some low owned plays in there too.
Yeah, we do. And just letting everyone know, if you do play this lineup in the million maker lineup and you hit, we get a percentage. Just it's in the bylaws. Just
consulting fee.
Yeah.
20%.
All right. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Gambling and Rambling. We'll see you guys all next week for week 11.
See ya.
Later.
Peace.